Zatar's knife really be an effective weapon? How is it going, ladies and gentlemen? I am Brian of Chamber of the Wraith, and today, we got a lot of Injustice 2 stuff to break down, in particular, Dr. Freaking Fate. Side note, while I was editing this video, I found if you slow down his voice by 80%, he sounds straight up terrifying. Have a listen.
You once brought hope.
Now I bring justice.
Justice is blind, not heartless. You once brought hope.
Now I bring justice.
Justice is blind, not heartless.
Yeah, pretty scary, right? So overall, Dr. Fate seems to be the kind of character who wants to mess with your head. He can set up traps and pillars. He even has a Quan Chi-esque sky drop. His throw has you getting stabbed with an Egyptian symbol, which I do not currently know at the moment, but the text will tell you what that symbol exactly is. And there's just so much here that if I wanted to break this character down, I'd be here all day. But there's a lot more footage to have a look at. Quick side note, he can buff himself with some sort of red magic. I don't know what that's all about, but it looks like he gets some sort of weird pseudo wall bounce that he can set up other crazy tricks, including his super, which he seems like, I'm guessing his trait is setting up those little dagger things to stab you and then time the explosion to get maximum combo potential. Next thing you know, you get supered by Dr. Fate, and yeah, you wish you hadn't messed with this guy. But I apologize for the super brief breakdown on the gameplay for Dr. Fate, but there's something I wanted to focus on a little more, and that's what Derek Kurtzik was talking about in an interview with PlayStation Access, which you're about to see momentarily.
We're going to make a feature.
Okay.
This is going to be called, right, 7 things you need to know about the gear system.
Got it. Let's
Okay.
do it.
Yes, indeed. This interview is all about the gear system, and while they said there were 7 things they wanted to talk about, there seems to have been a little more that kind of slipped through the cracks. So, one of those things that was being talked about was the loadout system, specifically how loadouts work in Injustice. If you were fortunate enough to play the beta, by the way, I hope you enjoyed this sweet-ass gameplay. This is from Games Radar. All links will be in the description. You'll get 3 loadouts at the start, and then from there you will get more loadouts. It seems the maximum loadout count will be about 5. There could be 6, but it's looking like it'll probably be about 5 loadouts, and that's not a bad thing at all. Having 5 loadouts for different situations for each character is going to make them look pretty freaking sweet. Imagine having a Supergirl for every single character in order to counter things like bullshit Grodd strategies, if he ever gets that good. Next up, we have...
I didn't know
good.
that.
Yeah.
Okay, point number 2.
Number 2.
Visual change. Now, we talked a little bit about this, but the gear set, like, it's not just a stat thing. It's a completely physical change from head to toe.
So, this bit is about how gear is affected visually for your characters. We've known a lot about how visually your gear is affected for a very long time. But for those who aren't quite familiar with what it is, each piece of gear looks a little bit different from everything else, sometimes even drastically different from other things. So, when you customize your Blue Beetle, for example, he's going to look different from other Blue Beetles you run into online. And under any game mode that you play, whether it's ranked where the stats are automatically disabled, or in casuals or anything like that, you will get to keep your visuals. So your Grodd will look the same regardless of if gear has been disabled or not. So that's really useful so that you can be like, oh, I'm not looking at the same Gorilla Grodd or the same Dr. Fate over and over and over again. At least you get different looks for everybody, kind of like skins. And in this interview, they touch on how premier skins act almost like the shaders, like you have different colors. So that is really interesting as well. And Derek Kurtzik even mentions that there are, quote, many more. So will we be getting Zatanna as Dr. Fate? Or as Dr. Fate's premier shader? Will we be seeing other premier shaders that we might not expect? Gotta keep an eye out to find out.
Now, will there be themed events? I mean, I don't want to bring in other games, but we have seen Overwatch do
Absolutely.
this. And people go crazy and they play loads to try and make sure they get all the Valentine skins or the Halloween ones. And you kind of did it with MKX as well.
Right, that's an ongoing thing with games in general. They want to make these holiday events, these limited time things to get people in and playing. And like you said, we did do that with Mortal Kombat X, and of course we're going to bring that into Injustice 2. The Injustice 2 single player is going to be pretty amazing. So you can definitely look forward to special events, things that are geared towards maybe what's going on in other DC things as well.
Crossovers.
What?
Right, point number 3.
Okay.
Item stats. So again, we know it's not just visual, we've touched on it a little bit, but what are the stats? Like, what are we changing here?
So you're changing your ability power,
Yeah.
so when you're doing special moves,
Yeah.
how much damage that does. You're doing your strength, which is your normal attacks, your
Yeah.
defense, how much damage you can take, and your health.
So it looks like we finally have a bit of an explanation as to how certain stats work. I know it seems a little bit silly for me to be a little bit confused, but the ability and defensive stats, I was like, wait, huh? How's these working? So it looks like strength is actual damage, your ability is how much your special moves do, your defense stats reduces incoming damage, and health is your general health pool. Pretty neat, and something to keep in mind when you're going into those geared matches for sudden, unexpected counters.
Reroll.
You can re-roll.
Yes.
Of course you can re-roll
Yes.
gear. So if there's gear that you're like, man, I love the way this looks, but the stats aren't exactly what I
can't
want.
use it.
Right. You can re-roll gear. Absolutely.
Amazing. Right, number 4.
Okay, now we're on to 4. I gotcha.
Abilities.
Abilities.
So we can also get new abilities via this gear system.
Yes, absolutely.
So yes, there are going to be different kinds of abilities that you'll be able to get. Different special moves, like different kinds of batarang explosions that electrocute opponents, or even, as was mentioned earlier in the interview, a way for your grapple as Batman to engage in a stage transition. There's also different animations for super moves, like is seen with Superman in the beta. I will try and throw a clip in here as well. On to the rest of the interview!
Every character has a handful of new abilities. I can't say an exact number because they vary.
We don't need exact numbers.
I'm not going to give you
Don't
exact
worry.
numbers because then I'm held to those numbers and I don't want that.
I need
But
this.
in the beta we showed off like Batman. Batman I think
Yep.
had about 7 different abilities. He had dual batarangs he could throw. He could throw a straight batarang, a downward batarang, a batarang with electric properties. So it actually a taserang as we called it. He had different parries. You could augment his normal parry and put a meter burn onto it. So there's tons of different things that you can equip to your character abilities to change the way they play and play the way you want to play.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so much fun.
Now, point number 5
Okay.
is multiplayer. Now, all of this sounds great.
Yes.
But imagine, okay, you've been busy, you picked the game up a few weeks after your friends, they've already unlocked a whole load of great loot, they've leveled up.
Right.
You're gonna get your ass kicked. What are you guys doing to try and make it fair?
So what's going on here is that, in essence, the multiplayer is going to try and match you with people of your level, which, with the 2 different levels, I'm not entirely sure. I believe in the interview, what they try to say is that you'll be matched with your character level, not necessarily your player level, but that could be difficult, because if you have a high player level, and you're just trying out a new character to maybe have some fun with them, then you might be wiping the floor with some scrubs. But at the same time, this can also give you an opportunity to learn characters and such. Also worth noting is that you have to turn off the gear manually in all modes excluding ranked mode, from what I can understand in the interview and from what has been seen in the Injustice 2 beta. So you'll have to do it in the same way you'll turn off interactions. You pop open the menu, you say turn off the gear menu, and then you're good to go. Of course, your cosmetics will remain the same, but overall, but your visual appearances will remain the same.
6. How do we actually get them? Like, how do we actually get all of these items? They just drop?
Number 6 is talking about how you acquire said gear. Now, as all of us know, you can acquire gear in several different ways, most commonly in offline and online battles. You can also get gear from the mother boxes shown elsewhere in the interview. And you could also potentially get it through other ways, as Derek Kurtzik implies this. My personal guess is that you'll get gear for beating story mode, you'll get gear for playing through the arcade mode, maybe even beating the arcade mode with every character. There are multiple ways that you could potentially get gear in this manner. And now onto what might be the most important question. Question number 7.
Mentioned currency.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is point number 7.
Oh.
Microtransactions. Can you actually buy things with real money?
You cannot buy gear with real money. You cannot buy chests with real money. Everything that you want to do to equip your character the way you want, you earn in-game. You're going to constantly earn coins in-game for grinding, playing, whatever it is, to be able to purchase those chests. You do not purchase chests with real money or gear with real money.
Well, there it is. You heard it from Derek Kurtzik himself. There will be no microtransactions in Injustice 2 relating to gear or mother boxes or anything of the sort. That's awesome because Lord knows everybody loves microtransactions. Ed Boon even said that in a stream that he doesn't want the game to be pay to win. So that's good. I'm really glad to see that these guys are steering clear from that kind of nonsense. So what do you guys think? How do you feel about this gear announcement? And how do you feel about Dr. Fate? I know I kind of gloss over him at the beginning of the video, but that's just because the real meat and potatoes came from the gear announcements and how they worked out. So I want to know what you guys thought about that, and please feel free to comment, like, and subscribe. And as always, don't forget to be awesome.
Didn't you know, Dark Knight? You can't fight fear.